My name is Pio D'Emilia. I'm moderating today. I'm co-chair of the Professional Activities Committees here. Today's guest is a very, very important guest for us. Welcome back to the Foreign Correspondent Club, Madame Koike. She's the governor of Tokyo, which is about the 17th economy of the world, if it would be a nation, just right after Spain and over Holland, as far as domestic product is concerned. It's a very big city, very hard to govern, and Koike Yuriko is already at her second mandate. I don't think she needs a long introduction. Everybody knows her. She's very outspoken, and she has been for many years in politics, and for many years she has been considered one, maybe the only first really candidate to be the first women premier of Prime Minister of Japan. I don't know if she still looks for such a development. We all hope so. And today she will speak about Tokyo status as a global financial center, the so-called green Tokyo, the future of Tokyo, amid the still pending pandemic. So since we have a very limited time, I rather give the microphone directly to Madame Koike, and please turn off your mobiles or put it in a silent mode if you have them. Thank you very much, Madame Koike.
Thank you.
Yoroshiku.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Koike Yuriko, Governor of Tokyo, and I'm very honored to be talking with you who have a deep understanding about Japan today. Now, the battle between COVID-19 and humankind has entered the third year. Currently, the Omicron variant is spreading very rapidly, and Tokyo residents and businesses have been very cooperative, following basic safety measures such as mask wearing and hand washing, and because of corporate efforts such as implementing work from home. And thank you very much for the members of the SCCJ that you are keeping your masks on and washing your hands and so on. Thank you very much. Now, we have been making every effort to take care of those recovering from COVID-19. For example, we deliver pulse oximeters and meals as needed to those who are recovering at home. And this service has received positive reviews by overseas media and on social media. For patients recovering at designated hotels, we provide an additional special bento box. You can have a look. Yes, each week. And prepared by known restaurants such as Nadaman, a famous Japanese restaurant. Our meal is very important under those circumstances. Now, we must stop the virus, but keep society going. That's the big thing and big challenge. We will continue to strengthen measures that balance COVID-19 prevention with socio-economic activities. Currently, the 2020 Winter Olympic Games are being held in Beijing. Yuzuru Hanyu, I don't know what's wrong with him, but anyway, we are enjoying the Winter Olympic Games there. And of course, you remember that last summer, the Tokyo 2020 Games were held without spectators. Despite this, more than 10,000 hours of broadcast content from the Games was streamed, and the Olympics were viewed approximately 28 billion times by more than 3 billion people around the world. The athletes performances inspired and gave encouragement to many people across the world who had felt isolated due to the pandemic. And from July to October this year, to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Tokyo 2020, we are planning a ceremony, a Tokyo Legacy Half Marathon, and other sports events. And this will not only to create an opportunity to re-acknowledge the value of sports, but to promote the appeal of Tokyo to the world once again. Now, let us watch a 20-second video, please. Video cannot be seen.
Yeah, we're watching it.
Okay, then I continue.
Yeah.
The Tokyo Games have left many legacies for Tokyo, as you know. The Paralympic Games have become a symbol of a truly inclusive society. The Games' vision for unity in diversity will form the foundation for Tokyo's future. And we will create a barrier-free society where both physical and social impediments are removed, and realize an inclusive society that transcends age, gender, impairment, or nationality. In addition, it is very important to create an environment where women play an even more active role. The fact that we can make use of the maximum capacity of women who make up half of the population seems mottainai or wasteful. After my first term inauguration as the governor, Tokyo has focused on initiatives to help women shine. We achieved measures such as reducing the number of children on daycare waiting lists by 90%, Taiki Jido, and setting up conferences with female leaders and managers to experience on organizational management that incorporates women's perspectives. Since 2017, we have been implementing a program named APT Women, Acceleration Program in Tokyo, APT for Women. The program supports building networks among female entrepreneurs. Actually, tomorrow, we will be holding an online debriefing session for the participants of this year's program. And we hope that all of the press here will also be able to attend. Now, we will create a city where everyone can flourish while at the same time working to strengthen sustainability. During the Tokyo 2020 Games, we have been very conscious of the need to create a sustainable city. Climate change is an issue that we, as humans, need to collectively address. We are in the process of carbon-free with the aim of achieving so-called carbon half by 2030 and zero emissions by 2050. To reduce carbon emissions in the household sector, for example, we are considering implementing mandatory measures to install solar power generation equipment for new houses. And by revising our ordinances, we hope to rapidly spread the use of solar power among general households in Tokyo. Last year, we also announced that the Tokyo Bay Esg Project. This project envisions a sustainable city where nature and convenience are fused together to become a model for the world, looking 50 to 100 years into the future. As a forerunner toward the realization of this urban vision, we will begin implementing cutting-edge renewable energy such as solar power in the new fiscal year around the central waterfront area where most events of the Tokyo 2020 Games were held. Now, the area where the Olympic and Paralympic Village was built is now undergoing urban renewal to become a model for an environmentally advanced city. We are working with private businesses to build hydrogen stations, and in addition to supplying vehicles, we are establishing pipelines for supplying hydrogen to each block for the first ever practical usage of this fuel in Japan. Tokyo is further evolving as a modern city, and we will overcome the current COVID-19 and achieve sustainable growth or sustainable recovery. Last November, in order to establish our status as a world-leading financial city, we upgraded the global financial city Tokyo vision. The keywords are green and digital. With regards to green, we are promoting the Tokyo Green Finance Initiative, we call it the TGFI, as a strategic measure toward the development of green finance. For example, by issuing a total of about 100 billion yen, which is $870 million in Tokyo green bonds and Tokyo social bonds next fiscal year, we will lead Japan's market expansion nationwide. And we will also create a new financial stream by establishing a social impact investment fund targeting companies in the wellness sector, such as medical and nursing care. In the digital sector, we work to develop fintech companies and to promote cashless transactions. On February 15th, we will also be holding an online seminar on fintech, co-hosted by the City of London Corporation, and we hope you can join us too. Now, a digital transformation will also give us great strength to cope with our rapidly aging society, declining birth rate, and natural disasters such as earthquakes and floods. Currently, we are working on a digital twin realization project, where a real place in Tokyo, including the people and cityscape, is reproducing in cyberspace. This will allow us to estimate the number of people moving around above and below ground in real time to visualize congestion conditions and improve countermeasures in the event of a disaster. By 2030, we will build a digital twin for the entire city of Tokyo to improve the quality of life. And furthermore, we will install smart water meters with a communication function in 130,000 households by 2024. We will no longer need to visit each household to check the water meter, and we can locate any leakages or water not being used in real time. This might be a very effective digital tool in looking after elderly people living alone, and we are planning to have them installed in all households in Tokyo by 2030s. We would like to change Japan's pride in living a long life, longevity, what we call choju, into something even more wonderful. In the next fiscal year, we will work with the Tokyo Metropolitan Geriatric Hospital and Institute of Gerontology to start developing initiatives to help the elderly live a vibrant and healthy life. The results of daily blood pressure, pulse rate, etc., measured by smartwatches will be analyzed together with medical data to develop an app to instruct elderly people to become healthier and make their conditions more visible. by making the elderly more aware of their own health. We will promote behavioral change and support healthy living. Because we are in the midst of a crisis, it is important to look beyond this. Investing in the future means helping people grow and flourish. Together with other cities around the world, Tokyo will share the knowledge we have developed and build a brighter future. And we believe this is what we can do in return to everyone across the world who helped us make the Olympics and Paralympics possible. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Okay, so shall we start with the Q&A? Let's start first from the room here, and then we have several questions from the floor. Since the governor has a time limit, which we really regret, because usually we have 1 hour at least here, so please make your questions very, very short. And also the governor, please have very short answers if possible. Thank you. Okay, go ahead. Yes? There. Please state your name and affiliation if you have one.
Jake Adelstein, the Daily Beast and the Asia Times. Koike-san, part of having a global financial center is having foreigners here. And for the last 2 years, about 150,000 foreigners who have had visas, some of them who are permanent residents, have not been able to come into Japan or come back to Japan. And the world thinks of Japan now as a very xenophobic country where if you come as a foreigner to work, you won't be treated as a human being. You yourself have refused to recognize the massacre of Koreans in 1923 in Kanto, which even your predecessor, Ishihara, not known for being a wonderful human being, he recognized himself.
Please, the question.
Okay, the question is, how can you ensure people that coming here is a good idea if you're a foreigner, and that you'll be treated like a human being, or at least like the Japanese?
Governor, I don't think you need the translation, right? Can we go on like that?
Okay, but please allow me to answer.
Yeah, the answer in Japanese is okay, but we don't need to translate the question, right?
日本という国はそもそも開かれた国でありますけれども、今回のコロナに対しての水際作戦、他の国々も随分厳しい措置を取っているかとは思うんですけれども、皆さんに、いろいろなご苦労をかけているということは心苦しいところです。だからこそ早くコロナを抑え込んでいくということが必要で、あります。何よりもこの COVID-19、新しいこの変異株がまた次から次へと出てきていますけれど、昨日私3回目のブースターショットを打ちました。ちょっと左腕が少しだけ痛いんですけれども、でも皆さんと一緒に守るためのマスクから、それから手を洗うことなど、非常に日本の人たち、日本の国民は本当によく守ってくれて、そして皆さんも今日もマスクをしてきていただいてありがたいところです。
Just can we have the translation? Otherwise,
okay, yes.
The interpreter will have a hard time.
Japan has been an open country. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it has instituted stringent border measures. But other countries as well have been quite stringent in its border controls. It is quite disheartening that such measures have inconvenienced so many people. And because of that, the pandemic must be contained. Now, one new variant after another has appeared in the context of the pandemic. And I just got my third shot, my booster shot. My left arm is a little bit painful today. But in order to protect ourselves, masking and hand washing are vital. And the public in Japan have been very good at following such protective measures, and I am grateful to all of you here as well for taking such measures?
まず守りとしてのマスクや手洗い、それから攻めとしてのワクチン、それから中体講和カクテル、そしてもう一つが今日本でも日本の製薬業界が治験を行っている、これ東京都も手伝っていますけれども、それによる経口薬、この3つの武器が揃うと、かなり COVID-19 との戦いは進んでいくんだろうと思います。残念ながらまだブースターショットが 5% ぐらいしか打たれてないというこの遅れは残念なところでありますけれども、できるだけ早く巻き返していくということで、これまでのような海外からのまた皆さんのような方々を日本に東京にお迎えできることを一日も早く迎えられることを願っています。
As defensive measures, there's masking and hand washing. As offensive measures, there's vaccination and the cocktail of drugs, as well as the drug currently in clinical trial, the oral dosage. Now, it is unfortunate that the booster vaccination rate remains low at 5%. That is very unfortunate, and it is my great hope that such measures are strengthened so that international visitors can be welcomed to Japan as soon as possible.
That's brilliant. Governor, sorry, I apologize with the room here, but there is a question from online from our Vice President Ilgin Yolunmats that is a kind of follow-up to what you just told us about the booster. She complains that the booster is very, very slow. She has been visiting Minato-ku center where apparently there are more employees than actually citizens that wants to be vaccinated. Could you do something to accelerate this process? Are you thinking of something like in other countries, like in New York or in Europe cities, where we have pop-up vaccination center without any reservation?
はい、ぜひそうしたいと思っています。ただワクチンは国から供給されますので、その打つブレットがないとショットができないというで、今これを各自治体、そしてこの東京都の都庁の上の展望台でも毎日4000人ぐらいいますけれども、少し遅れたということは事実だと思います。国もですね、昨日、岸田総理が、これからは1日100万回打っていきますということをおっしゃってたということは、ワクチンがちゃんと確認されたということなんだろうと思っています。とにかく急いでいきたいと思います。
Thank you very much. Translation,
that would be very much my preference as well. However, having said that, please bear in mind that vaccines are delivered by the government. Without a bullet, we can't take that shot. And currently, about 4,000 people per day are getting the vaccination jabs on the top floor of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building, and likewise in other local governments as well. But it is a fact that there's been a delay. And just yesterday, on part of the government, the Prime Minister Kishida announced that 1 million jabs per day would be possible going forward. This seems to indicate that the government has secured the necessary vaccines. So sooner the better, of course.
Thank you. Karin?
今日ありがとうございます。ラジオフランスの特派員で西村と申します。一点お願いします。先ほど小池知事はいろんな対策とかを取り上げたんですけれども、その中で一度も PCR 検査、抗原検査という表現が出なかったんですが、明らかに東京都でも検査の件数は足りない状況が続いている。今、陽性率はだいたい 40% になっているんですが、だいたい8倍ぐらいが必要だと思われますが、なぜ最初の頃から日本で特に東京でも検査の件数はそんなに少ないでしょうか。
Radio France, Nishimura. Of the measures that you mentioned, Governor Koike, PCR testing and antigen testing were not mentioned. Not enough testing in Japan, it's been said. The positive rate currently hovers at around 40%, and it is said that 8 times that would be required of testing. So why is it that testing remains so low?
特に PCR や抗原検査などの言葉を省いたわけではありません。そして検査については東京都はできる限り多くの方が受けていただくために無料の検査キットをお配りをしておりますし、またについても不安のある方に郵送でお送りをするという形をとっています。で、できるだけ多くの検査を受けることによって心配な方の状況を発見するということは、COVID-19 に対しての防いでいく措置で極めて重要だとこのように思っています。
Hello?
I wasn't intentional in omitting. It was not my intention to omit PCR testing and antigen testing. As a sign of that, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government distributes testing kits for free, and those who are worried, TMG also sends it by postal mail as well. So by increasing the number of people who are tested, faster one can discover or identify the current situation and to contain COVID-19 subsequently. So that is a defensive measure that I think, I believe, should be more widely available.
Rocky?
Thank you. Rocky Swift with Reuters. Sorry to belabor the subject of the booster shots, but I wanted to ask one thing. Some of the experts and policymakers that I've talked to said that a lot of momentum was lost last year, that if Japan had maintained that momentum of 1 million shots a day, that with the leftover vaccine, some half the population, 60 million people, could have gotten a booster by New Year's, including yourself. So I'd like just maybe more comments from you. What do you think about that timeline and the management of the booster shot program from the central government? Thank you.
はい、私は今のロイターの記者の方と非常に似た印象を持っております。年末の頃にはですね、期間をどれぐらい空けないといけないか論争があって、6ヶ月なのか8ヶ月で随分国の方とやり取りもしました。そしてもうできるだけ早くを申し上げましたけれども、それはいかんという話で、みんな足並みを揃えていくんだということで、今回の COVID-19 で問題であったのは、どこを優先して、どこにその先に、どれぐらいの量を置いていくかっていうのは、これは 有事の時のですね、兵站と同じだと、ロジスティクスなんですね。で、これについて、東京や他の自治体からしてもですね、なかなか国の考えと、一致しないところもあったかと思います。だからようやく100人1日打つという話になりました。このモメンタムが少し、こうずれているということが今の、感染の拡大に間に合っていないということだと思いますが、先ほど申し上げたように飲み薬ですね、モルヌピラビルというのがすでに来ていますけれど、これも全国で非常に限られた数でみんなに、それぞれに3人分しか出さないという話ですね。でそれから次にファイザーのを待っています。2月中にどれぐらい来るか分かりませんけど、2月中に。あとは塩野義製薬が今東京都も治験に協力をしていますが、こちらも2月中か3月かというので、特にこのオミクロンというのはスピードが感染力が強い、それだけ速い、それだけにこのスピード感の違いというのが非常に現場からしてなんていうんでしょう、ストレスフルなところがあります。
Thank you.
I have the same impressions as you have, as the Reuters journalist mentioned. At the year end last year, there were internal discussions or debate around how much interval there should be, whether it should be 6 months or 8 months from the last shot. And there was a lot of back and forth between the government and the Tokyo Metropolitan government. On our side, we requested the next shot as soon as possible, but the government didn't quite agree. It was said that this has to be done in sync. And the issue here is where to prioritize and how much to give to which priority communities. And it's just like an emergency situation, the logistics decisions that need to be made. It's about logistics. Tokyo and other local governments have requested the central government, but there were cases when the two sides were not completely in sync with each other. So finally, 1 million shots per day seem possible. And the point that this momentum has shifted, I think, can be interpreted as whether this latest rollout is in time for the outbreak. Well, there's also oral medications coming in, but only barely not enough, only for about 3 people per a certain area. And there's a Pfizer medication coming in February. And there's also the Shionogi medication currently in the clinical stage, planned to be rolled out in February or March. The point about Omicron is that it is very transmissive. Speed is the key. And the difference in perceptions about speed is potentially causing stress for people on the ground.
Thank you. All right.
TVBS News Richard Sushiro, 知事よろしくお願いいたします。Last month, 25th of January, people of Indonesia, especially from TVBS News, awarded you certificate of recognition for the important work with Corona 2 years ago. Today we are recognizing and living with Corona. Once again, congratulations. My question, we are hoping Corona will submerge as soon as possible and the economy will running better again. What do you think for the next 2 years? The most important word for the society you would like to introduce? Thank you.
Governor.
Hi. Thank you. ポストコビッド、ポストコロナのコンセプトは、私は一言で言ってサステイナブルリカバリーだと思います。単に昔に戻るリカバリーではなくて、サステイナブルな社会を作っていく、これを機会にしていくということが必要だというふうに思っています。いつパンデミックがまた次にやってくるかわからない、その時の備えや、また街のテレワークが大変日本でもようやく定着をしています。これなどもサステナブルリカバリーの一つの象徴だと思います。でまたそうですね、食事の仕方なども随分変わりました。昔のみんなで歌って踊ってカラオケというなかなかそこまでには戻れないとは思う今の時点では戻れませんけれども、やはりいつパンデミックが起こるか、また気候変動もそうでありますけれども、そういったいくつもの危機を前にして私たちはどうあるべきなのか、どのようにサステナブルな社会にしていくかということが極めて重要だということを認識したこの2年間プラスアルファであります。
Thank you.
The concept for the post-COVID era in my mind is sustainable recovery, not to go back to the original state, but thinking about how to take this opportunity to create a more sustainable society. Who knows when the next pandemic will arrive? In Japan, finally, online working or working from home is becoming part of life. This is one sign of a move towards a sustainable recovery. How we dine has changed as well. It would take some time to go back to the old way of enjoying karaoke, singing and dancing and all that. And climate change, that's another change. Climate change is another another crisis that we must overcome. So it is about thinking about how to respond to various crises and to create a sustainable recovery. That is what we have gleaned from the past 2 years and plus COVID-19 era.
I would like to add one more thing to our colleague's question about the sustainable recovery.
Go ahead in English. Go ahead. 頑張って。
頑張って。何を言うか忘れちゃったです。はい。そう。次の年の予算、東京都の予算は全部やると大体14兆円ぐらいで、これはスウェーデン一国の予算に提供します。でその中で、やはり力を入れて進めるのはグリーンとデジタルです。これに対しての今日いくつかご紹介しましたけれども、このグリーンとデジタルを進めることによってサステナブルリカバリーが可能になって、その人々の生活も守られることになるというふうに考えています。
One more thing, Tokyo's budget is about 14 trillion yen, which is equivalent to the whole GDP, rather national budget of Sweden, in excess of Sweden's national budget. Using that budget, Tokyo has the twin goals of implementing green and digital, and to make those two cornerstones a part of people's lives sustainable, to create a sustainable society.
Governor, we are running out of time. Could I ask you if you could extend for 5-10 minutes, because we have a lot of questions.
I'm sorry, I have to prepare for the meeting. Yeah,
so
sorry.
Next
time.
Then allow me the final question, okay? Because it's almost time. We talked a lot about sustainable energy, greenery, Japan. There is an issue that as a politician you took up in the past, and we understand you are declared yourself against nuclear power. What do you think about nuclear power? Should Japan join other countries in Europe that have given up? Recently we had former two prime ministers here, Koizumi and Kan, who appealed against the EU Commission proposal to reinstate nuclear energy as sustainable energy. What do you think about this?
はい、そもそも日本は天然資源に、恵まれていない国であります。だからこそ再生エネルギー、太陽光や風力、それを水素に変えて活用するという方法、これらについて来年度の予算にも取り組みとして盛り込んでいます。で、原子力でありますけれども、不幸な2011年の大事故がありました。そしてまたそれに対して原子力の危険性ということについて日本国民もそして世界中も大変懸念を持つようになった。ただ一つ一つのこの原子力発電所の位置であるとか、それらの安全性を確認をしていくという必要があるかと思っています。すべての原子力発電が危険というのではなくて、それぞれの原子力発電のその安全性を確認をするということが重要だと思います。ただ、なかなかこの、老朽化をしてきたり、新しいのを建てると、新しい原子力発電を建てると、建設をするということはこの日本ではなかなかもはや難しいというふうに思います。それだけに再生エネルギーなど、また水素の活用などを行っていく。もちろん今はコストの面からすればですね、なかなか見合わないところがありますが、やはりフォシルフューエルをどこまで使っていくのかということはもはや世界のトレンドの中で、極めて、難しい、あれもダメこれもダメというと動かなくなってしまいますが、新しい成長戦略、成長産業は再生エネルギーの開発などにある。そこをですね、ものづくりの日本がさらに東京においてもそれを後押しをしていくことが必要だと考えています。
Thank you.
Japan is not endowed with natural resources. Therefore, Tokyo has included in its budget for the next fiscal year the budget to generate hydrogen from renewable energy sources such as wind power and solar power as well. As for nuclear power stations, in 2011 there was a tragic accident which gave rise to concerns about the risks of nuclear power both within and outside of Japan. But the point is to ensure to confirm the safety of nuclear power stations depending on where it's located. Not all nuclear power stations pose risks, so it's about verifying safety. Another issue is aging of power plants, and it is, as a fact, it is difficult now in current Japan to build a new nuclear power station. That is why renewable energy sources and utilizing hydrogen would be pertinent. Currently, there is a cost efficiency issue with such sources. But whether or not fossil fuel can be used going forward with the ongoing global trend, it would be extremely difficult, I have to say. We cannot render ourselves immobile by not preventing ourselves from doing one thing after another, but at least in the growth industries, renewable energy sources should be the key, and Tokyo is very much behind such efforts.
Thank you, Governor. So we will release you And we will send you a honorary membership card for our club. So maybe in the future you can come here and enjoy and maybe even having karaoke here with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Arigato.
Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we will have a new press conference here.
you